Okay, let's dive right into this. Look, we all know the market is completely chaotic right now. It's a mess out there. But you know what? We are absolutely not going to panic. In this explainer, we're taking the brilliant, frankly ruthless logic of Niccolo Machiavelli and applying it directly to our modern business landscape. We're going to find our strategic agility, and we're going to come out on top.
Machiavelli famously wrote, "Fortune is the arbiter of one half of our actions, but she leaves the other half for us to direct." I really need you all to internalize this. As a leadership team, sure, we can't control the macroeconomy. We can't control the chaos, the fortune part of the equation, but we absolutely 100% control our strategic response to it. Half of this game is completely out of our hands, which means, by definition, the other half is entirely ours to win. We aren't victims of the market here. We are the directors of our own corporate fate. He gives us this absolutely perfect metaphor. He says fortune is like a raging river. When it floods, it just obliterates everything in its path, tearing down trees, ruining buildings, you name it. Right now, guys, our market is a flooding river. But here's the absolute genius of his advice. You don't fight the river when it's already flooding. No way. You build your dams, your barriers, and your defenses when the weather is fair. We must be building our corporate infrastructure. I'm talking our cash reserves, our cross-functional agile teams, our fortified supply lines, way before the water actually rises.
Now, what's really interesting about this is how we actually apply all this defensive building to our specific business units. Machiavelli breaks down power structures into two main buckets: hereditary principalities and mixed principalities. For us, right here, right now, this is the stark contrast between our legacy core businesses that we've run smoothly for decades and our volatile, newly acquired startups in emerging markets. Let me be clear, you simply cannot manage these two very different beasts the exact same way if you want to survive the flood.
Let's look at our core legacy businesses first. Machiavelli points out that hereditary states, our established divisions, have way fewer difficulties. Why? Well, because the customers are already used to us. To manage these, honestly, we just need to maintain our established customs and deal prudently with day-to-day circumstances as they pop up. We don't need to reinvent the wheel or use extraordinary force here. We rely on the natural goodwill of our loyal customer base. As long as we don't drastically alienate them or break what's already working beautifully, these legacy branches will practically run themselves and give us a rock-solid foundation.
But what happens when we step out of that comfort zone? What happens when we acquire new, turbulent markets or launch a highly disruptive new product line? This is what Machiavelli calls a mixed principality. And let me tell you, the rules of the game change completely. In these new territories, customers will willingly change their loyalties, constantly hopping around hoping to find a better alternative. The waters here are incredibly treacherous. So, how do we actually hold on to this new market share without drowning?
We do it with aggressive agility. Machiavelli's playbook from Chapter 3 for holding new territories is just brilliant. First up, he says the leader should reside on the spot. For us, that means our executives need to be on the ground, staying obsessively close to the new customer, not just hiding out here in headquarters. Second, send colonies. In corporate speak, we make targeted, localized investments and agile sales deployments rather than these massive, clunky, company-wide overhauls. Third, we become the defenders of minor powers, meaning we build strategic alliances with smaller local players. And finally, we actively work to weaken our powerful competitors in that specific region. It is calculated, it's aggressive, and it's highly, highly localized.
And listen, we have to move fast. I absolutely love this medical analogy from the text. He compares these early structural troubles to a hectic fever. Think about it. In the beginning, the disease is super easy to cure, but incredibly difficult to detect. But if you just let time pass, it becomes very easy to detect, but almost impossible to cure. True leadership means anticipating the market. We've got to spot the structural issues in our new acquisitions early, when they're barely even a whisper, and fix them before they balloon into a fatal corporate disaster that everyone on Wall Street can see.
So, I have to ask you, look closely at your divisions right now. Are we anticipating the fever? Are we building dams? Or are we drowning? Because the weather is no longer fair and the raging river of fortune is already rushing in. We've assessed our structural foundation, but now we absolutely must address how we actually move and react once we're in the water.
So the crucial point is this concept of strategic agility. Machiavelli explicitly states that success comes to the leader who directs his actions according to the spirit of the times. If the times are turbulent, and they certainly are, your strategy must be agile. You've got to abandon rigid, legacy thinking the exact moment the market shifts. Seriously, what worked yesterday in our legacy business will absolutely sink us tomorrow in our newly acquired markets. Complete, unwavering alignment with current market realities is our only core survival trait right now. Machiavelli draws a pretty brutal contrast here. On one side, we have the cautious leader. This manager relies purely on what has always worked. They're hesitant. When the market violently shifts, they cannot adapt, and frankly, they are ruined. On the flip side is the adventurous leader. This leader is agile. Now let me be clear, this does not mean being a reckless gambler making blind bets at a Vegas casino. Actually, scratch that. It's more like being a highly skilled sailor. You adjust your sails to a sudden storm rather than just throwing the steering wheel overboard in a panic. They change their nature with the times. When the industry is disrupted, the adventurous leader doesn't retreat. They step right into the chaos and master the situation. Frankly, we cannot afford cautious managers in this room right now.
Let's see how this builds into a tangible action plan. We are not going to just sit around and rely on pure luck. We balance our risk by following 4 clear steps. 1. We continually assess when we have fair weather or periods of market calm. 2. We use that calm to ruthlessly build our structural barriers, locking in those cash reserves and training agile teams. 3. When the storm inevitably hits, we direct our actions to match the shifting spirit of the times, pivoting instantly. And 4. We master the situation through bold, decisive execution. We do not wait around for permission from the market.
Because ultimately, Machiavelli leaves us with this incredible rallying cry. It is better to be adventurous than cautious, because fortune favors the bold. During this market transition, fear is our absolute worst enemy. Hesitation is a massive liability. Calculated, aggressive action is what will separate us from the competitors who are currently washing away in the flood. We have to embrace the adventure of this volatility.
And this brilliantly illustrates the core takeaway I want you to leave with today. Luck is just a river. You can't stop the flow, but you can build a hydroelectric plant and make a massive profit from it. Don't be the executive who drowns just because they stubbornly refuse to adapt. Be the CEO who brings a surfboard to the flood. So as you look at your departments this week, I leave you with this final, provocative thought. What outdated dams are you still relying on, and where exactly are you going to drop your surfboard tomorrow?